Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is our regular meeting for the City of Southfield City Council being held on Monday, May 2nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Banks. Present. Brightwell.
Here.
Cruz.
Present.
Frazier.
Here.
Hoskins.
Here.
Mandelbaum. Taylor.
Here.
Madam President, you do have a quorum.
Thank you. Would we all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Madam President, I just want to say we need to excuse Councilman President Pro Tem Mandelbaum.
Thank you. Next, we have communications. And no one has signed up for communications tonight. So we will go right into our appointments. We have the appointment of Mr. Patrick Ryan as the Public Works Director.
Madam President, this evening I'd like to ask our Human Resource Director, James Meadow, and Mr. Ryan to come to the podium. I am asking for Council's authorization to appoint Mr. Ryan as our Director of Public Works. I believe most of the council members had an opportunity to meet with him.
Good evening, Council. I have
Good
the
evening.
honor to present Mr. Patrick Ryan. He has a wealth of information and a wealth of experience. We look forward to him being a wonderful Public Works Director, and we ask that you approve his appointment.
Mr. Ryan, would you like to share anything with us?
Yes, I appreciate this opportunity to be able to serve the residents of Southfield and to help out as much as I can, and I appreciate the fact that you have given me the opportunity.
Thank you. Council, is there any questions? Okay, I'm ready for, did you want to say something, Mr. Mayor?
Madam President.
I'm just going to say that for the benefit of the listening audience, we had a robust conversation prior to tonight's meeting. So I think a lot of our questions were answered, those council people who were able to attend. Once the council approves you, certainly want to welcome you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Cruz?
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, I'd like to move the appointment of Patrick Ryan for Public Works Director.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Cruz, supported by Councilman Frazier for the approval of the appointment of Mr. Patrick Ryan as Public Works Director to the City of Southfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, and
Thank you.
welcome.
Congratulations.
Okay. Mr. Ryan, just raise your right hand and say, "I do," when I'm done. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, and the Charter of the City of Southfield, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Public Works Director to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. As I stated, Madam President, Mark Pilot, our Director of Building and Safety, is with us this evening. It is not on the agenda, but we would also like to have Mr. Pilot come up and introduce Chuck Woodward. He's the new Deputy Director for the Building Department. It is not an administrator's appointment, but I thought it would appropriate that we introduce him, Mr. Woodward, to the council as well as the public.
Yes, please.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. At this time, I'd like to present to you Chuck Woodward, the new Deputy Building Official. He comes from West Bloomfield. He is extensive background in building and mechanical trades, and he's a welcome sight to me.
Thank you. Would you care to share any words with us, Mr. Woodward?
Yes, I just wanted to say I'm really looking forward to serving the city of Southfield. So,
Thank you.
everybody I've met in the first few hours of my time here have been excellent. I couldn't say enough good things about the people that I've met already.
Well, thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, any words? Thank you.
Welcome to our city.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Council, next we have agenda items for discussion and/or action. Our first item is requesting the final approval of the We Remember display.
Council, as you recall, a couple of weeks ago, we discussed the We Remember display, and you were supportive of it. I said I would bring it back when I had date certain. And so we're talking about, if you approve this evening, I would notify St. David's Episcopal Church, who have volunteers that'll bring it over and set it up. And it's proposed for May 3rd, if possible tomorrow or else Wednesday, and then June 6th. I also, since there was some confusion as to exactly where I was proposing this to go, I provided a map for you. And this is the area that's slightly raised between the library and the loading dock of City Hall. There's a lot of traffic there for the library as well as for the Parks and Rec building. So I think it's a place that would have visibility but not be blocking the use of our front lawn. So I'm looking for your approval for this evening so that we can set the wheels in motion. I will ask Mr. Mannion to digitize the book that I gave all of you so that it'll be online so that people can read the backstories of the various individuals.
Okay. And so when you say online, you'll have it on the website, on the front page, or?
Yeah, well, I'm going to work with Mr. Mannion on that, pending
Okay.
your approval this evening.
Okay, thank you. Council?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Councilman
I'd
Brightwell.
like to make a move that we approve the We Remember display as presented.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Brightwell, supported by Councilwoman Banks for the support of the approval for the final approval of We Remember display as presented tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you. Next, we have the Detroit Institute of Arts Inside Out program in Southfield.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council. For the viewing audience, my name is Michael Mannion. I have the pleasure of serving as the city's Community Relations Director. Today we're here before you to discuss the city's application to the DIA, Detroit Institute of Arts Inside Out program. We have with us Ms. Amanda Harrison, who's the Community Engagements Manager for the DIA, to tell us a little bit more about the program. Just a little bit background for you relative to the city of Southfield. The city last had the program in 2014, and Community Relations applied to again be considered for participation this past fall. We're pleased to announce that the DIA has approved that, and so we're slated to be seeing some artworks, reproductions of some famous master works from the DIA going up in the city soon. And to tell you more about the program, I have Ms. Harrison from the DIA. Ms. Harrison?
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Mayor and honorable council members, for having me this evening. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm so grateful that the Inside Out program is able to be back in the beautiful city of Southfield. And it's a privilege, honestly, to have the DIA, I believe, in this community. We are committed to serving Oakland County, Wayne, and Macomb, which is our funding source. And we really have a gem, we believe, in Detroit inside of this art museum. So just a little bit about the DIA. If you're interested in coming down, we're back to regular business hours. We're open late on Fridays until 9 p.m. And we've also resumed in-person programming, so we encourage you to come down to the museum to join us. We're actually ranked top 6 in North America in terms of importance for art museums, and there's a couple of reasons why. We have over 67,000 pieces in our collection, including the one that you're looking at now, which is the Mashushu dragon, a symbol of the god of Marduk. It's one of the oldest pieces within our collection. Another point of pride is that we were home to the very first Vincent van Gogh to enter a United States public collection. And then we are also home to Diego Rivera's industry murals, which are considered a national treasure. Diego Rivera was said to have drawn inspiration from this piece. This is Peter Bruegel the Elder's The Wedding Dance. It's a 500-year-old piece painted on wood pallets. And it played an instrumental role in during Detroit's rise from bankruptcy. So the DIA actually owns its building, the collection, and the land that it's sitting on outright as an independent 501c3. We're funded through a millage that's generously supported from Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb County. It's a 0.2 millage, and that grants some benefits to residents of Southfield and all of the other municipalities within those 3 counties. That includes free general admission. We have free field trips for K through 12 students that includes bus transportation. We have a specialty senior program that's offered every Thursday at 1 p.m. It was in person, but it's been virtual since the pandemic. And community partnership programs like Inside Out, which is the reason I'm here with you this evening. If you're interested in coming down to the museum because you're inspired by the artwork in Southfield, I gave you all a flyer of the By Her Hand exhibition. This is Artemisia Gentileschi. This piece in particular is Judith and Her Maidservant with the head of Holofernes. This is exploring the stories of 17 different women from the early modern Italian period, 1500s to the 1800s. And then another upcoming exhibition that we're really excited about is Van Gogh in America. We're celebrating the 100th anniversary of that groundbreaking purchase of his self-portrait. This is the Bank of Oases that you're looking at right now. We're going to have 60 other original works of art from Vincent van Gogh on display starting in October. That doesn't include Starry Night, though, unfortunately, if that's one of your favorites, like it is mine. We won't have that one, but we have so many treasures that are going to be on display. And one last thing I wanted to point out is we have community outreach partners are really important to us at the DIA. So one thing we do every year is an ofrendas exhibition in celebration of Dia de Muertos. And we are calling for participation. So if there is anyone who wants to make an ofrendas altar, we are taking applications through May 15th, and interested parties can apply at dia.org/ofrendascall2022. Those community partners, we're also dedicated to bringing artwork into the community, so you don't always just have to come to us. And that's really what I've been working with Michael on this Inside Out program. It's bringing reproductions of DIA artwork into communities like Southfield. So this year we are in 9 different communities in Oakland County. Birmingham, Farmington Hills, you can read the list. So lots of municipal partners for that. And we are so excited to be in the city of Southfield. We chose a lot of different locations around your municipal campus here. And you can actually see them highlighted in this map. We have 7 different works of art. And Michael and I worked together to make sure that We had images that were reflective of your community and displayed in ways that would be accessible to your residents so that we could highlight this interesting project in the best way possible. One thing about selecting the pieces that has been a challenge is that we have 67,000 pieces in the DIA's collection, and I only have almost 200 works of art in the Inside Out collection. A lot of that has to do with copyright issues. So if you're wondering why one piece that you love in the DIA's permanent collection isn't in the Inside Out collection, it's because we need to secure that copyright. But it's really important to us in the DIA, as I believe it was with Michael working with him, that we have diversity in the artwork that we're putting into the community that reflects the breadth of our collection. We have so many different pieces within it that we want to share that with the community. So I just wanted to share, this is a brand new piece that we've added to the Inside Out collection. This is Edward Duval Carey's Untitled, painted in 1980. He was a Haitian-born artist living in Miami. He focuses on the U.S. political occupation, and it's actually highlighted here. The artist is using the Haitian spirit of the sea, Agawee, to symbolize the invaders that are coming from the seas. And then the spirits are part of the Haitian voodoo belief system, which is a mixture of French, Roman Catholic, and African beliefs. And that is what our artist is trying to capture in this brand new work of art that's going to be on display in your community, just to give you a little taste of what you'll be seeing. And then we also have Ben Shaw's Bookshop, Hebrew Books, and Holy Day Books. And this is really looking at an immigrant mother and child standing in the doorway of a bookstore. And the setting is post-World War II, and it focuses on Jewish culture at a very difficult time in history. His imagery is meant to be encouraging during political and social reform. So those are just a couple of the pieces coming to Southfield, and I hope that you get out and find all of the 7 that are going to be on display, and maybe feel inspired to come down to the museum for one of our exhibitions or to see the original works of art. I'd welcome any questions.
Okay, great. Council, thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Council, do we have any questions? Councilman Frazier?
Yes. The different cities that you're displaying this artwork in, are they all the same or are they all different? Or
There are different cities every year, so we have an application process, and then we take all of the applicants, review them, and we try to go to the cities that we hadn't been in recently to make sure that it's equitable across the board. And then we also try and spread it out across Oakland County. So you'll see some of them. We have Southfield, West Bloomfield, Troy, and even up as far as Holly.
I guess I misunderstood. Wasn't very clear. Are the pieces of art the same in each one of the cities that you're displaying it in?
No, we try and put different pieces of artwork in every city, and I have over 200 pieces to draw from, and we're trying to expand that collection every year to be more reflective of what we have in the museum. So these are unique pieces that you will not see in any other city.
Okay. And Michael?
Yes, sir.
How do we tell our citizens that the other communities have different pieces of artwork, so if they want to see a bigger collection, they can go to these other cities? How do we advertise that to them?
Great question, Councilman Frazier. And if I may, I'll segue into the last part of my presentation. So not only will the city be sharing the locations of the works, you saw the map in Ms. Harrison's presentation, we will be making that readily available, of course, all of our channels, our social media, our website, our City Cable 15, so on. We actually have a feature article in the Southfield Living newsletter that's going to the printer today as we speak. That'll be hitting mailboxes in the next couple of weeks. And this program will run, that will be installed, we're not sure on a hard date yet, but it will be installed in the next week or two in May, possibly as late as mid to late May. They're working through their scheduling now, and as Ms. Harrison mentioned, there's several other communities participating across Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. But we hope to have them all up by mid to late May, and then those will stay with us through the end of November. Is that correct, Amanda?
Yes.
And so we hope to do a lot of associated programming with that. We're applying for docent tours, biking and walking tours from DAA docents. We're trying to schedule some interesting and unique programming around it, perhaps like art making with young people, these types of things. In addition to that, of course, Councilman Frazier, we will then also advertise all the other communities. So not only to encourage our residents to come and see the collection here at Southfield Municipal Campus, but to go and visit in the other communities as well. And of course, with the ultimate aim, we want folks to get down to the DIA. You know, as the pandemic numbers are improving, we're seeing less cases of COVID. Folks are now feeling more comfortable to get back out into the community, and what a great place to go. We have a world-class institution here in Metro Detroit. So a part of this all ties back to getting folks into the doors of this world-class institution. But I really think the program is interesting and unique in that it's kind of finding art in unexpected places. So in previous years, we've had them as far-flung as Carpenter Lake, and you can imagine the surprise of folks walking out there and stumbling across this unexpected work there. I know I've been on Mackinac Island through the years and run into them there. So we thought this year to group them. It's been some years since we've had them. So we wanted to have them all on the campus to excite that kind of, create that excitement and energy here on a walking, proximity. But so across all channels, we'll be promoting not only our installation, but the other communities as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Councilman Brightwell?
And I do have one question, but I definitely approve of this program. And I recall when we did it several years ago, we had a group from a DIA to make the presentation. And just so happened, I have a replica of the wedding dance in my house, and it's framed. So but anyway, obviously, I can't afford the real thing. I can't afford anything that approaches the real thing, really.
No one can, it's priceless.
I know. I understand that. Since we have history with this, by the time November roll around, how have these instruments held up to the weather?
They've honestly held up remarkably well. They have a latex film over them that is painted to protect both the piece of art and the frame, and they're built to withstand weather. So if there were any problems and one got beat up or graffitied, Michael knows that he's able to call me and we'll come and replace it, fix it as soon as possible, so that way there's nothing cringy in your community. But no, they hold up very well.
Sure, okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
Madam Chair, with that, I would like to move that we, as a council, approve the City of Southfield participation in the DIA Art 2022 Inside Out program.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Brightwell, supported by Councilman Frazier for the approval of the DIA Inside Out program here in the City of Southfield from May to November of 2022 as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Madam President?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I would like to thank councils for approving that item. I would like to just point out in the write-up, after a dialogue with Councilman Hoskins and his attendance at the National League of Cities meeting, we've added 2 sections, and the administration is going to be experimenting with this a little bit. The first one is on diversity, equity, and inclusion impact, and the second one, sustainability impact. Those are 2 areas where the council is focusing some efforts. How do we reduce our carbon footprint, and how do we enhance and improve on the experience for regarding diversity, equity, inclusion in the community. So we wrote that up. The councilman shared with me a community in Oregon that was doing it. So we're certainly open to ideas as we move forward on this item and how we can further evolve and refine that item. And I just wanted to bring your attention, a little bit different write-up.
Okay, thank you.
If I could, through the chair, I would say Mr. Zorn must have been reading my mind because that's exactly what I wanted to mention about this. I'm not the most artistic person, but at the same time, I like the fact you're keeping these things in mind and what you're in the project that you're doing. So, again, thank you for it, and we welcome you to the city, and we look forward to it.
Thank you, Councilman Cruz. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you. Council, next we have the authorization to purchase emergency medical supplies and equipment.
Madam President, Deputy Fire Chief Antonio Mackus is going to introduce this item. He does, in addition to the medical supply, have a brief PowerPoint that pertains to the 3 physical improvements for the fire stations.
Thank you.
Good evening. Chief Menifee sends his apologies that he wouldn't be able to make it tonight, so I'll be filling in for him. So, good evening, Madam President, Council, Mayor, elected officials, residents, and visitors. I'm speaking on the authorization to purchase additional emergency medical supplies and equipment. On March 16th, 2020, Council approved the purchase of emergency medical supplies and equipment from Boundary Medical of Dublin, Ohio, for a contract term of from March 17th, 2020 through February 9th, 2023. The total base contract amount was $270,000 over the course of the contract, with a budgeted amount of $90,000 per fiscal year. Due to the ongoing COVID pandemic and other limitations, the cost of medical supplies has greatly increased. Also, due to COVID, the fire department has incurred additional expenses for personal protection that our paramedics and firefighters have to wear when they're assisting patients. So these things have greatly increased the cost of the supplies themselves. Therefore, the fire department is requesting an additional $25,000 be allocated for the remainder of the current fiscal year to allow the purchase of additional supplies and equipment. The fiscal impact is additional as the fiscal 21-22 expenditures for this contract are $25,000 based on unit prices and estimated quantities. Funds are available in the 21-22 fiscal budget, Fire Department EMS and Train Operating Supplies account. This office recommends that you authorize the purchase of additional emergency medical supplies and equipment from Boundary Medical of Dublin, Ohio, by increasing the budgeted contract amount from $90,000 to $115,000 for fiscal year 21-22, with funds available in the 21-22 Fire Department EMS and Train Operating Supplies account. Madam President, I yield back.
Thank you. Council, did you want to add something else, City Administrator?
No, we've incurred additional expenses associated with the pandemic, asking you to increase the contract amount additional $25,000.
Okay. Councilman Brightwell?
Deputy Chief, how much supplies are typically on each rig?
How much supplies?
Yeah, I mean, the dollar value of the medical supplies.
You know, I don't have a dollar value of what is on the trucks. We typically don't go by, we don't typically have a dollar value. We have what the state requires us to have on an ambulance. So we have required supplies to be on a truck at all times. So that we stay within the minimum to carry so that we don't carry a whole lot of overhead. So we're only asking for what is needed at that point.
Okay,
So I don't have the cost of a totally amount of supplies on any one ambulance.
Okay, that's fine. It's
Okay.
not a critical question, I was just curious.
Yeah.
But you do have a standard that is based by the state that you got to carry on each rig?
Yes, sir, and we have to go through relicensure every year, so they come and check our trucks. And yet, we have a minimum amount of supplies that have to be on every ambulance.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else? Councilman Frazier?
Yeah, just help me out a little bit. Are these emergency supplies, medical supplies, things that are used on each call, you know, like Band-Aids and slings and things, or is it durable equipment?
No, it's disposable equipment, I'm sorry. It's disposable equipment that we use on all calls. So most of it is personal protection equipment. So like gloves, as you state, gowns, cot covers, we're using more and more of them due to the COVID and the exposure to. So personnel are being dressed all the time to take universal precautions during these times. So yes, they are disposable, not durable equipment.
Okay, well, that sounds like you guys are pretty busy. I know, my head was in a whirl when I found out how many runs you guys make, but, you sound like you're busy all the time.
It is busy all the time, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. No other questions, council?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to move the authorization to purchase additional emergency medical supplies and equipment as presented.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Mandelbaum, supported by Councilman Brightwell, for the approval and authorization to purchase additional emergency medical supplies and equipment as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. My next is a snapshot overview that is going to put into perspective the next 3 memos that we're asking for approval through capital improvements. So unlike the DIA's very nice PowerPoint, my images are probably not going to be as beautiful. So the next 3 items in the memos, we're going to address the flooring in the stations, paint in the stations, and lockers. And we'll go by station, so you can get a brief snapshot of what we're going to ask for to repair. These are the bay floors at Station 5. As you can see, there's no safety grit. It's down to the concrete. There's no safety lines for backing up of apparatus. They're no longer present. And then any chemicals can seep into the concrete. So this is one of the items that was identified when they did an analysis of needs. Station 2, this is their Apparatus Bay Floor. As you can see, it was last touched in 1992. At that time, the floors were not covered with any slip-resistant coating. There were no markers. And this is where the mechanics division is at. So they're out on the bay floors all the time, on every shift, repairing our apparatus. Station floors, approximately 15 years ago, it was last remodeled. You can see the faint yellow line that aids in our engineers backing up the trucks and keeps everything centered, the truck and the door, as well as the down to the concrete, bare concrete. This is what it'll look like when it's done. So fluids, any spillage will be easily picked up. There will be a slip resistant added into the epoxy finish, and you can see the trucks where they're parked right on the yellow line and assisting as it backs up through the door. Fire Station 5, as it comes to paint. Paint, as I'm told, over 25 years old. You can see on the apparatus wall there, the carbon buildup outside of the heating and cooling or the boiler vents, and then the interior ceiling there. So this is something that was readily and easily identifiable as a need to be repaired. This is interior Station 5. This is the drywall, crack in the cinder block, paint chip from the ceiling in the bathrooms. Again, this hasn't been updated or improved in the last 20 years. Station 2 had some leaks. That's why we are missing ceiling tiles. Now the leaks have been repaired, so the leaks have since ceased. But these are the areas where Station 2 will have paint as well. Here's inside. Some of these tiles, ceiling tiles, will be replaced. All of them will be painted. So the interior ceilings will be painted. The ceiling tiles that can be salvaged to keep costs down will be salvaged, and others will have to be replaced. Here too, there was water damage from prior leaks, but they have been repaired. When it comes to flooring, the interior carpeting, living, dining areas, hallways, this is after professional cleanup. So we've had professional cleaning. Our stations have been done twice since I've been here in the last year and a half from COVID concerns. So we had a company come in and steam clean, and this is even after they've hit it twice. A lot of the carpet will be replaced by laminate for longevity and return on investment, and easier to clean. And these are the fire station lockers that are going to get replaced, that we're asking to have replaced. And you can see the rust is in the hinges, in the floors, in the walls of the lockers. Some of the shelves are broken, and garments are missing hooks for garments as well. So that is a brief snapshot of the items that I'm going to cover in the next 3 memos. So with your permission, I'll move on to item C, if that's okay, Madam President.
You mean, we were still on item D. We've completed item C, the medical equipment. So
I'm
you
sorry.
were presenting the flooring installation.
Yeah, I thought I said C. Did it sound like I said D? I'm sorry. My apologies.
Okay.
No, it is D.
It is D.
Madam President, item C was that is complete.
Yep.
We have items D, E, and F, and the PowerPoint covered those 3 items.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so we're doing all 3.
That's what I thought.
You have the earlier version of the agenda. He has from agenda staff.
My apologies.
That's okay.
Sorry.
I know I'm going like this. I know I'm reading it.
Okay.
My apologies, Madam President.
That's okay, but don't we have to,
We got to do each one.
we have to do each one individually?
Yeah, each one at a time.
Yep.
In a typical, prior to COVID, we would have presented, we'd have been in study session. These items would have been handled as a consent agenda item. I thought, and if there are discussions with the chief last week, that giving council visual aid and then the 3 items. So the first item is for the item D, the installation of the contract flooring. And there, that item, the department is asking authorization to retain Rickman Enterprise Group of Detroit for installation of fire floorings at fire stations 2 and 5 in the amount of $55,789.23. Purchasing did put this out to bid, went out on February 24th. There was a pre-bid meeting on March 8th. Bids were due back on March 24th of this year, and we received 3 bids. The Rickman Enterprise Group of Detroit was the lowest qualified bidder.
Okay, and we'll take them one item at a time. So, council, do you have any questions regarding this item? Councilman Brightwell?
When you're doing the floor for apparatus, this is I'm asking a question, probably applicable to all 3 of those items. When you are doing the flooring, how will this let's say renovation and or painting will affect your readiness to respond to a call? And also, will you have to park the vehicles outside overnight that's normally housed within the station?
So in our RFP, we warned the contractors that this is a 24-hour operation, so there will have to be some type of rotation as we complete. So the whole
Could you speak into
apparatus,
the mic? I can, maybe it's me, but
the whole apparatus bay will not have to be emptied. They'll be done in sections so that we don't have to disperse out of the station for them to complete the whole apparatus floor.
oh, okay.
So the contractors have been warned that it's a 24-hour operation and that there will be some consideration into areas that they will complete before we move to another area within that same station, so that we don't have to empty the whole station and it doesn't impact our emergency operations.
Okay. So, will you have to park a vehicle outside the station for overnight when you're doing repairs inside the station? simply because I understand part of the area that's being renovated and updated is where vehicles are normally parked. So now, if that particular piece of real estate is not dry or not ready, does that mean you had to park the vehicles outside the station overnight?
We will stay away from that as all possible. What we will do is rotate vehicles as needed. But again, we may give them 1 bay or 2 bays and only an area that 2 trucks are in, and we'll move those trucks to the back side of the station to go out the back door instead of the front. So we've made accommodations. I've done this in the past with other fire stations, and when you're working with the contractors, they'll take maybe 1 or 2 apparatus bays, and you move everything to the other side, and then vice versa as they're done. So no, we are attempting to do this without moving or parking anything outside.
Oh, okay, so the readiness of the fire department will not be impacted by these renovations and update?
You are correct, sir.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, council, are we ready to vote on this?
Madam Chair?
Yes, please.
Yes.
I move that we, item D, we award the contract for the floor and installation of Fire Station 2 and 5.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Brightwell, supported by Councilman Cruz for the approval of the contract award for flooring installation at Fire Stations 2 and 5 to Rickman Enterprises of Detroit as presented here tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Our next contract that we'll be discussing is for the Apparatus Bay Floor and interior painting at Stations 2, 4, and 5 that I believe you already discussed with us. So, council, do we have any questions?
One question.
Mandelbaum?
For Fire Station 2, you have that the ceilings, I mean, based on the pictures, they're terrible, but it says you're just going to paint the ceilings. You're not replacing them with ceiling tile?
We'll replace the ones that are damaged. Everything will be painted. The ceilings will be painted. I think the cost,
So there's parts of the ceiling that are not tiled?
so the tiles will have to be replaced, and then it'll be painted,
Okay,
so that everything matches.
perfect. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councilwoman Banks?
Thank you. When I look at the various bid quotes,
Mhm.
there's 2 companies, they're like 4 times the amount as a low bidder. Were they like all bidding on the same thing? I don't understand why there's such a large discrepancy. I can understand, 10, 20, 30,000, but you're talking almost $150,000 difference.
And that's exactly why we had the pre-bid meeting that was mandatory. They all got the same story. They all got a walkthrough of all the stations that were to be done and the work that was to be performed. And Ms. Tonzel did an outstanding job with the RFP and managing the questions. So yeah, in order to bid, you had to attend that pre-bid meeting. And in that pre-bid meeting, everybody got the same look at all the stations as a group and the work to be done. So on the bidding end, that's what they submitted.
Thank you.
Councilman Frazier?
If I remember, on Station 2, there's been at least one, maybe more than one, problem with the roof leaking, or rain getting in the building, and it had to be repaired. Are you familiar with that?
I'm familiar from the pictures, and Chief has made me aware that the leaks have been repaired.
Have they been repaired?
That's what I'm told.
Because,
Yep.
seems to me we went through this once before, a number of years ago, and that's the newest of the stations I think. I don't think that main station is newer than that. I just want to make sure that you feel confident that the leaks have been repaired so that once you get it painted, it's going to stay looking presentable.
That was my question again today when I reiterated, when I looked at the pictures, I said, the leaks are fixed, and I was told, yes, the leaks have been repaired.
Okay.
Madam President, I don't recall the exact timing, but roughly 4 years ago, that Fire Station 2 roof and the office area was a major roof project. Councilman Frazier is recalling correctly. We had a dickens of a time getting that problem solved. Our architects at the time spent a substantial amount of time. We believe, to my knowledge, we haven't had any recent problems with that. And before we did the final release of payment to the roof contractor, we made sure that that roof was no longer leaking. And we even took water at different angles on the glass part of the office to try to stop water from coming in there. But to the best of our knowledge, we've had that solved for about 4 years now.
Yeah, I think the contractor, the original contractor was Redstone.
You're recalling it was a very challenging contract for us.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President, just for information purposes, we were in conversation with several clerks around the state to Councilwoman Banks' point. Since COVID, so over the last 17 months, with the receipt of bids, there have been very widespread in the pricing. So we don't know if that's because of inflation or gouging or just the price of goods and services. But throughout this whole state, the clerks on a statewide level have seen numerous thousands of dollars in differences in the receipt of bids while they had a walkthrough and all was bidding on the same thing. So it's been in flux for the last 17 months, is what we've been seeing.
Thank you. Council?
Madam President,
Yes.
I'd like to move approval of the contract award for Apparatus Bay Flooring and interior painting at fire stations 2, 4, and 5.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Cruz, supported by Councilman Brightwell for the approval of the contract award for Apparatus Bay Floor and interior painting at fire stations 2, 4, and 5 as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. And your last item was the contract award receipt of bids for replacement of PPE lockers in the apparatus bays for the fire stations 3 and 5.
Yes, Madam President. 3 and 5, as you saw in the pictures, those lockers have rendered their lifespan. And again, we sent bids out. They all did a walkthrough at the meeting, and we sent bids out. And February 24th was the pre-bid meeting. I'm sorry, bids. The invitation to bid was sent out February 24th. Pre-bid meeting was March 8th, and bids were due on March 24th. 2 responses were received. F-Tech from Farmington Hills at $24,250, and Bernard Enterprise Group, Grand Rapids at $31,200. Fiscal impact, the total estimated project cost is $24,250. Funding for the project is provided in the fiscal year 21-22 Fire Department Capital Improvement Account. This office recommends to approve a contract with F-Tech of Farmington Hills, Michigan for the removal, disposal, purchase, and installation of replacement lockers at fire stations 3 and 5 in the amount of $24,250. Now, I will add that F-Tech is the ones that previously did the lockers at police and DPW. So it's the same company.
Thank you. Council?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move that we approve the contract award receipt of bid, excuse me. I move that we approve the item as presented for the replacement of PPE locker in Apparatus Bay at fire stations 3 and 5.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Brightwell, supported by Councilman Cruz, for the approval of the contract award receipt of bids for the replacement of the PPE lockers in the apparatus bays at the fire stations 3 and 5.
Madam President,
Councilman Frazier?
I do have a question.
Yes.
The warranty on those lockers is only 1 year. Is that the best you can get?
That's the best that the low bidder provided on the RFP, sir. Was 1 year parts and labor.
Well, it doesn't seem like very long. How long have you had the lockers that you got now?
25 years.
I'm sorry, sir?
How long have you had the lockers that you have now?
As rusted as they are, I would imagine it's probably been a good 20 years.
I thought it said 25.
Aren't they the originals?
That's,
I think they are.
that's
Yeah,
the right.
that's more than 20 years.
Okay.
Maybe they just give you a 1 year warranty, but the lockers really last a lot longer than that. Because 1 year doesn't sound like very much.
I agree. I thought it would be longer, too.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor that has been moved and seconded. Council, all in favor of awarding in the approval of this contract as presented tonight? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam Chair?
If I could,
Councilman Brightwell?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't oppose it. I just happen to, I knew I saw this somewhere. In the first paragraph, Mr. Frazier indicated those lockers have been there for 27 years. The ones that are there now are 27 years old.
But the new ones are only going to have 1 year warranty.
Yeah, well, yeah, we probably be replacing them in 18 months.
Things
Well,
are
that-
supposed
I
to be
was
getting
being-
better, not worse.
That doesn't, for information purposes, that doesn't prohibit the city from getting an extended warranty on those lockers also. So that's an option.
And Madam President, I will offer the Public Works lockers. I haven't had any complaints. I've not inspected them, but there's been no complaints about early wear on them. And I think they've been in over 5-6 years since we redid the men's restroom there.
Okay.
Okay.
can I ask just one question, Madam President?
Yes, Councilman Cruz?
Yeah, I just want to know who was being awarded the contract for floor installation. Item D, I'm sorry, the other ones both have Apparatus Bay, but there wasn't one put on here for who's doing the work for the floor installation for 2
For
and 5.
contract award for flooring installation at fire stations 2 and 5,
Yeah,
Rickman Enterprise Group from Detroit.
okay.
Okay, any
All
other
right,
questions?
that was it. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments, council? Anyone? Okay. Our next, thank you very much.
Thank you for your support.
Deputy, was the chief just afraid to be here because he's wearing the police jersey?
It's a scarring picture, you know? Him in a police jersey. Thank you all once again.
Thank you. Our next item is for this agreement with the Suburban Mobility Authorization for Regional Transportation, better known as SMART, for specialized services, operating assistance program. Contract period is October 1st, 2021 through October 30th, 2022. Is that right?
September 30th, 2022.
September 30th, 2022. So
Correct.
we're in it now.
We are. So Parks and Recreation is requesting, good evening, council, by the way. Parks and Recreation is requesting authorization to enter into an agreement with SMART and accept this portion of the contract, which is the specialized service portion, for $17,314. SMART developed the specialized service program to improve southeastern Michigan's public transportation services to senior adults and persons with disabilities. Annually, the City of Southfield and SMART execute a specialized services operating assistant program, third-party contract. SMART allocates the funds in the amount of $17,314 to the city for the TOS program. Our TOS program runs Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, as well as during the height of our season and when all buses are running, we schedule evening and some weekend programs. We are recommending that the council authorize the mayor and the city clerk to sign the agreement with SMART for the $17,314, subject to the review and approval by the attorney. Just a couple of comments on the timing of this. You'll notice that, as you said, Council President Taylor, we are in the midst of it. SMART sends those contracts to us when the state releases the funds to them. Traditionally, it's usually in January. February this year, it was the end of February, beginning of March. And so we did have a little snafu on our part. SMART has developed a software program, and so they can automatically send those contracts directly to the people who have signed them before, and that's our city clerk and our mayor. And so they did that, and so we had to stop that process. We caught it, and now we're here before you proceeding with this contract. But yes, bless you, but yes, we are in the midst of the contract. But we move it forward. That money doesn't go away for us. It stays there, and as Madonna will speak to you next month, when the state releases the dollars, it goes to SMART, and then SMART can send those contracts out. Because of COVID, they were very behind and had working from home and some of those challenges that we've all had through COVID. So this is for the continuation through September 30th of this year.
Great.
Thank you.
Council, do we have any comments or questions? Okay, move for motion.
Madam President, I move that we support the agreement with Suburban Mobility Authority of Regional Transportation, SMART, for the Specialized Services Operating Assistance Program as presented.
Support. It's been moved by Councilman Cruz, supported by Councilman Frazier, for the approval of the agreement with SMART for the Specialized Services Operating Assistance Program contract as presented here tonight. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next item is the authorization to purchase zero-turn Exmark mower for the park services.
That's correct, Council President. Parks and Recreation is requesting your authorization to purchase this Exmark Laser X Series 980 with deck, 96-inch deck. It's a commercial grade zero-turn mower. It's capable of mowing 9 acres per hour. It has wings to fold down. It will be our most versatile piece of equipment that we have in our fleet. It can be used at various parks, and it can be used at the golf course, and one of the reasons for that is because it has the capability with those flaps to contour to the surface, the grass surface. It can also mow roughs at the golf course. And then just to give you an example, at Beechwoods, we still maintain holes 1 and 9 for our golf programs, our clinics, and our pro to use that area. And we do the range. Typically, our current mowers that we have right now, to cut the range, it takes about 5.5 hours. With this mower, it'll take an hour and a half. So literally, it saves us not only time, but it saves us people. As you can recall, it wasn't too long ago, I was before you requesting a zero-turn mower. We just got information about a week and a half ago that that mower that was supposed to be delivered to us soon is coming in November. So we have gone on into our fleet this was in our schedule for a mower, but I am coming to you earlier than I normally would. So we're presenting it to you and asking for your authority to purchase it. Weingart's does have it in stock. It is through the Omni Cooperative Purchasing, and if you recall, that cooperative contract is a number of cities that come together to get the best pricing for equipment. And so we're bringing that before you. We have reviewed it with purchasing, and we have reviewed it with our financial director as well. So, and the amount, I believe, is
$31,999, not 32. So I can answer any questions for you.
Thank you. Council? Seeing none?
Madam President,
Yes.
I move approval of the authorization of the purchase zero-turn Exmark mower for park services.
Support.
It's been moved by Councilman Cruz, supported by Councilman Brightwell, for the approval of authorization to purchase the zero-turn Exmark mower for park services as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. My
Thank
team,
you.
appreciate it, your support. Thanks.
Thank you. Council, this brings us to the council portion. And we'll start with you, Councilman Mandelbaum.
I just wanted to thank everyone who came out yesterday to the Guns versus Hoses hockey tournament. It's just still a funny name. But it was a great turnout. They raised a lot of money for the Friends of the Southfield Police. And it was overall a good time was had by all. And this week on Wednesday from 5 to 7 in front of on the front lawn is Family Fun and Bike Safety Night. It's a free event, again, from 5 to 7 this Wednesday, May 4th. And there will be bike helmets for free, as well on a first-come, first-served basis, as well as other safe bicycling information. And there will be activities for the youth as well. So make sure you bring socks so you can participate in those activities. Also, for those who like the Beechwoods golfing range, the driving range opened yesterday. So feel free to take advantage of that so you can practice your game and then head over to Evergreen and actually golf. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Hoskins?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank administration for taking my suggestion about adding a section about the equity impact on the things we do. I'm looking forward to seeing how that flourishes throughout as we are implementing it. I also like the sustainability impact as well. And so I just want to mention that. Thank you for taking my suggestion there. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Frazier?
I have nothing this evening.
Thank you. Councilman Cruz?
Yeah. Well, you know what, since I really can't say what I want to say right now, all I'm just going to say is when they go low, we go high. And I think anybody that heard that knows who I'm talking about. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Brightwell?
I have just one thing for veterans. I just want all the veterans to know that the VA, the Veterans Administration, has a Center for Minority Veterans. And the Center for Minority Veterans, obviously they have an advisory committee for minority veterans. They have an African-American Black veteran service members. They have a group for the American Indian and Alaskan Native Veteran Advisory Committee. They have an Asian American and Pacific Islanders Minority Committee, and also a Hispanic Veterans Minority Advisory Committee. I put that forward that if anyone who falls in one of those categories, to just realize that if you are in the Veterans Administration system and you feel that you are having some difficulties because of your race, please reach out to that VA facility that you're a member of and ask to be contacted by one of the advisory committees that I just spoke of. They have numerous steps within the Veterans VA system that assist individuals. Those are groups that specifically deal with, certain minority members. But you also have the USOs, your veteran service organization like the Disabled American Veterans, American of Foreign Wars. But as always, I know a lot of people might not be a veteran who hear this, but you might know a veteran who might be going through some difficulties. Pass this word on to them. It could be a brother, sister, or a neighbor. Just pass on the info. And if there are any questions, feel free to contact me here at City Hall. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councilwoman Banks?
Thank you. I'd just like to remind everyone that for those of you who are qualified, the second booster of the COVID vaccine is available at all of the pharmacies throughout, I believe, the state, and I know in the city of Southfield. So consider getting your second COVID booster, and just everyone still stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. The Optimist Club had a kickoff yesterday for the teens regarding teen mental health here at the Fill Zone. So be aware of your mental health and take care of yourself. It is very important. And if you need to speak to someone, please reach out. If you don't have someone like a family member, see if you can speak with a close friend or contact different services. I know we have at Oakland County, and our human services here in Southfield can connect you to someone. But your mental health is very, very important. So please take care of yourselves. And that's all I have for tonight. Mayor?
Good evening. I have a couple of things that I want to share tonight. First of all, a reminder that May 20th is the deadline for the annual photo prize, and we're looking for submissions. The information on how to submit original photographs of Southfield, they have to be Southfield taken in the city of Southfield, but they are to be submitted to our Community Relations Department. The information on the qualifications as well as other details is available on the city website. So again, May 20th is the deadline. Also, we're still looking for volunteers for the annual Rouge River cleanup on May 21st, 8 a.m. to noon. Gather at Beechwoods. You can go online and find the information to register at Friends of the Rouge or by calling our engineering department. Thirdly, if the council has no objections, I would like to present either later this month or the first meeting in June a joint resolution on June as Men's Health Month. And on June 11th, we will have the annual Crohn's and Colitis Walk in the morning. Okay. That's roughly from 9:30 to 12:30. It will be the walk from the front lawn over to the Red Pole Park and back. Crohn's and Colitis Foundation brings their own tents, tables, and porta-johns. Then following that, from 2 to 6 p.m. is a prostate awareness and information fair, also on the front lawn, and that is being sponsored by Prostate Boxers Foundation. It's a local nonprofit. So we have these two events on June 11th as part of our Men's Health Awareness Month. So if there are no objections later this month, I will be bringing you a joint resolution to declare June as Men's Health Month in the city of Southfield. And I'm hearing no objections, so we're good with that. And then this is the first meeting in May, which by charter the mayor presents to council the recommended budget for the 22-23 fiscal year. So what I'm presenting tonight has been reviewed by city administration and myself. This is for you, for your review. And then, as Council President and I discussed, we have council study sessions on the budget coming up later this month. So we're not asking for a discussion on this tonight. We're just simply asking that you review this, and the opportunity to comment on the budget or have your questions answered will be coming up in a couple of weeks. Okay. And also included in the information that's just been distributed is the recommended budget for the American Recovery Act funds as well.
Thank you.
So those conclude my comments for this evening, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.
Madam President,
Yes.
I just wanted to ask the mayor, if I could,
Sure.
through you. Are there going to be any is there going to be any testing on that Men's Health Day? Testing? Is there going to be any testing or just lecturing or?
We're just still in the planning stages, but I believe there will be. I didn't go too far until I wanted to get your consensus on doing this. I know City Center Advisory Board will be supporting these events too, hopefully. They're meeting on Tuesday, a week from tomorrow. And in the past, they've joined their support for the Crohn's and colitis, and then we're adding the Prostate Boxer Foundation, which is chaired by a local resident, Boyga Adiasi. And he approached us about bringing this to our campus in June. As you know, a lot of men ignore their prostate and their prostate health. So.
Okay, they're great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Yes, Councilman.
I'd like to ask the mayor a question, please.
Yes, yes.
For Men's Health Month, are we going to light up the front of the building blue?
Well, we certainly could.
We could.
We've done that before for other events, so if that's your suggestion, Councilman Frazier, consider it done.
It gets lit up for Breast Health Month.
Yeah, and various other causes.
Thank you. City Administrator?
Thank you, Madam President. Just for council's information, the northwest corner of the city, the San Reno subdivision, the water line installations, the disconnect from the community well is going very well. We're now 2 weeks into it, and we're averaging about 3 each working day. So we're humming along there, and we hope to have that wrapped up by the end of June. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Council, Madam Attorney?
Good evening, Madam President, Council. I have nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
No comment this evening.
Thank you. Treasurer, no one else is here tonight. Nothing to schedule. Any, Councilman Brightwell?
Yes, Madam Chair, since we were talking about health, actually, health a few minutes ago, I did have a piece that I was going to present, but I didn't want to take the time, but since we were going back and forth about prostate cancer, and this is just a quote, health equity means all people deserve the full health potential. So,
Is your mic on?
My God.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you very much. No, this is just relate to what we were going back and forth with a minute ago about prostate cancer. And I just happened to read the article earlier today that I was going to present, but it just, since we were talking about blue lights and pink lights, it's about health equity, and So everyone should be able to reach their full health potential, no matter what the gender might be. So that's just one of those philosophical quotes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else have any business tonight? Seeing and hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.